So there's this movie that recently came out called Rally Road Racers, and from the very moment that I was made aware of this movie's existence, I knew that I was going to have to keep a close eye on it. First of all, the company that's distributing it is none other than Viva Kids. If you don't know who they are, they're a company that blesses us Americans with terrible foreign kids movies. Their most famous work is 2012 animated feature film Foodfight, which is never a thing you want to be said about your company. Them being the distributors is probably the reason most of you haven't heard of this movie before, because they either don't have enough money to market it, or they just don't care. And the second reason why this is a movie I am obligated to watch and discuss is because it was made by... Yeah, them. These are two of the most infamous names in animation history, and would already be giant red flags on their own. But combining them together? Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. All the signs were pointing toward an absolute abomination, and I knew it would be my duty to watch it. I bought a ticket. I showed up opening Thursday night. I watched the movie, and it existed. Yup, it was certainly a feature film, and it hits the mark of being acceptable. You know, with all the ironic hyping up I've done for this movie, and all the warning signs saying it would be bad, I'm actually not sure if it was better or worse than I expected it to be. But as is, I guess it's moderately decent. There actually are a few pretty enjoyable elements here and there. I like the villain frog racer guy. He's pretty awesome. His giant ego was fun to watch, and John Cleese gives the performance of his life for Rally Road Racers. I also liked Nash the Goat, voiced by J.K. Simmons, even though he's speaking in such a thick Russian accent that you can't tell what he's saying half the time.
That the race is no holds barred.
There are a couple of fun racing scenes here and there, and actually this really cool sequence where they use this sketchpad style of animation while playing Take On Me. It comes out of nowhere, but it's still really neat, and the animation is especially great. I guess the animation for the rest of the movie is fine, and some of the character designs actually look pretty good. Others, not so much. But where this movie really falters are with its writing and its pacing. Rally Road Racers tells the super original tale of this guy who wants to race, but nobody believes in... Okay, yeah, you know everything that happens. It's already really generic, but the movie also feels like it's moving really slowly, and the characters aren't enough to elevate it. The main character is the main character, and that's all you need to know about him. He has a love interest who's secretly working for the frog villain behind his back, and you'll never guess where that goes. His dynamic with Nash the Goat as his mentor could have been enjoyable, but it ends up feeling rather flat. I don't know, the two don't really have any chemistry, nor do they bounce off each other in a way that's funny, so it's just kind of boring. Spoilers for Rally Road Racers, I guess, but there's this twist later on in the movie that Nash was once the mentor of the main character's dead mother. But they weirdly don't do a whole lot with this and is only used as the base for a poopy trope. There sure are a whole bunch of cliches in this film. Anyways, whenever we're not watching the racing competition, the movie just kind of grinds to a halt so it can have character development. And since the characters and their interactions are just kind of boring, it resulted in a massive decrease of my interest. There are a couple of funny moments, but for the most part, the jokes and the dialogue just feel so off. It's like the editor actively went into scenes and slowed down the speed, making it so a lot of the jokes just miss the comedic timing mark. And most of the slapstick and physical comedy are just the complete opposite. It moves way too fast. Whenever the movie relies on its visuals for comedy, the movement is just so quick that the joke zips by and doesn't leave a real impact. Speaking of visuals, while the animation isn't bad, it's clear that they did lack budget in a few areas. Like I said, the character animation is really off, and they keep reusing the same designs and boring backgrounds over and over again. Sometimes it looks like they're attempting to do the Mitchell's Spider-Verse style with a more neon color palette. And while there are a few shots where it does look pretty cool, they really didn't go far enough with it to make it visually stick out from the pack. There's also a lot of awkward mouth movements and scenes that just don't look right. During this part where they're racing, they use nitro to go super fast, and it looks so awkward that I was dying laughing in the theater. The empty theater, by the way. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like this movie is gonna sell one Rally Road Racillion tickets. Oh, and spoilers again, but the main character wins the race. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. And the movie ends with a message that was so generic that I forget what it was. So yeah, that was Rally Road Racers, and pardon the pun, but it was pretty middle of the road. There are parts where I was having a genuinely good time, but also parts where it was pretty stale and generic. It's pretty much the exact movie you expect to get when you read the synopsis, and that's not really a terrible or good thing. You've all seen Mario at this point, so I guess I'd recommend checking this movie out if you're curious. But if you live near one of the 4 theaters that's actually playing this movie, then you also probably live near one of the theaters that's still playing Suzume, so you should go see that instead. In terms of animated films that mysteriously popped up in theaters, it's certainly nowhere near the god-awful tier of Playmobil and Arctic Dogs, but I also wouldn't say it reaches the surprisingly enjoyable tier of stuff like Paws of Fury or The Amazing Maurice. So overall, it's pretty average, which automatically makes it Vanguard Animation's magnum opus. I'm going to give Rally Road Racers a 5 out of 10. I'm sure I'll talk about this movie more when I inevitably force myself to make the reviewing every Vanguard movie video, so look forward to that. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed, comment down below, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.